A former director for The Legend of Zelda has revealed his new project to be an open-world dress-up adventure game named Infinity Nikki. Kentaro Tominaga has worked on The Legend of Zelda since 2002's The Wind Waker and even directed the expansion pass for Breath of the Wild. Now he's working with Paper Games on its latest and largest project in the Nikki mobile game franchise, expanding it to PC and PlayStation consoles. The Nikki mobile game series is unlikely to be familiar to many Western game fans. Nikki Up 2 dressing story was first released in 2012 and was developed by the Chinese studio Paper Games. It tasked players with dressing up Nikki appropriately for each stage. 3 more games in the series have followed: Hello Nikki Let's Beauty Up, Love Nikki Dress Up Queen, and 2021's Shining Nikki Fashion Makeover. But it seems Paper Games is ready to elevate its efforts with something different. An announcement trailer for Infinity Nikki has revealed the game to be an open-world dress-up adventure game with platforming and action gameplay. Longtime protagonists Nikki and her talking cat Momo return, as does their focus on dressing up. Instead of dressing up being the end goal, however, Nikki will use her different outfits to wield special abilities that allow her to explore, adventure, and overcome all manner of challenges. The trailer reveals how Nikki's dress-up powers will work in Infinity Nikki. With the push of a button, it appears Nikki can swap outfits and styles. She can leap into the air with one outfit and then transform into another, which allows her to slowly glide down. She has outfits that allow her to fish, catch insects, cook, craft, and much more. She can even shrink down and ride on Momo's back through areas that are otherwise inaccessible, and she can look fabulous while doing so. It should be clarified, however, that the trailer for Infinity Nikki appears to be pre-rendered cinematic footage. The small print indicates that the trailer is not necessarily indicative of what the final version of Infinity Nikki will look like. Stepping from mobile games to a major open-world game is incredibly challenging, so Paper Games has a lot to prove. The reveal of Infinity Nikki does inspire a lot of excitement, though. A dress-up style of open-world game is unlike much else. It's unclear when more information regarding Infinity Nikki will be shared, but those interested should watch Paper Games' social media channels going into 2023, as it releases on PS4, PS5, PC and mobile. It looks interestingly good with some gameplay here and there included with the cinematics, and I'm looking forward to this game. Jeff Keighley's Game Awards event is set to take place next week, celebrating this year's best games and announcing several games of its own. But it seems that the plans for next year are already in order too. It was announced today that Summer Game Fest is set to return, with a few details regarding its date, stage, and ticket sales becoming available too. For now, of course, all eyes are on the Game Awards. There are plenty of rumors swirling around it, such as supposedly planned reveals of Final Fantasy XVI's release date, a Star Wars Jedi Survivor trailers, possibly Death Stranding 2 from Kojima Productions, and others. Of course, it does all remain to be seen, as none of these are as publicly concrete as Summer Game Fest. Summer Game Fest is set to take place on June 8, 2023, both online and in person. Everyone will be able to tune it for free, but those who want to attend in person will be able to buy tickets beginning early next year. It's going to take place in the 6,000-seat YouTube Theater in Los Angeles. It should be noted that Summer Game Fest will face more competition next year than it did this year. E3 2022 was unfortunately cancelled, but it is currently set to return in 2023. E3 2023 is set to take place from June 13th to 16th in the Los Angeles Convention Center, but it should be noted that anything could change with these two events as 2023 moves forward. On the event's return, Jeff Keighley stated that, over the past 3 years, Summer Game Fest has cultivated an incredible community around the world through our digital-first events. And we're thrilled to invite thousands of fans to experience the SGF show in person for the first time in 2023. In keeping with tradition, we'll have tons of exciting announcements from the developers that are pushing the games industry forward, and will once again highlight other publisher digital events, demos, and more surprises to be announced in the coming months. And this time I hope both shows doesn't end up terrible like the past 2 years. On November 29th, PlayStation announced that PS5 players can take part in official video game tournaments via a new console feature that launched this week. As part of the feature's launch, PS5 players will also be eligible to compete in up to 3 compatible games to win cash and PlayStation peripherals for a limited time. Despite still being hard to find after 2 years on the market, inventories of the PS5 are slowly but steadily becoming more available to customers via PlayStation Direct and other reputable retailers. Those that currently have a PS5 will have plenty to sink their time into via the features and events that the console can host. Starting on December 1st and running through January 31st, PS5 players can take part in tournaments in Guilty Gear Strive, NBA 2K23, or FIFA 23 directly from their console and compete in the Win-a-thon tournament program. The program was created to celebrate the launch of the PS5 tournament feature. The top players per region will earn prizes including cash, a new DualSense Edge controller, or a Pulse 3D headset. According to the Win-a-thon rules, the top 8 players in Guilty Gear Strive will earn a DualSense Edge controller, while those that place ranked 9th through 16th in a given region will earn a Pulse 3D headset. In addition, more prizes will be available for Guilty Gear Strive players that excel on the battlefield. At a later date, the Guilty Gear Strive Win-a-thon final will be held. Eligible players that place in the top 64 of their regional leaderboard will be invited to take part in a traditional bracket-style tournament for further cash prizes. However, to participate in all these tournaments, all prospective players must be 18 or older and have an active PlayStation Plus subscription of any tier. The Win-a-thon is not available in Japan, Croatia, Argentina, Turkey, Russia, North Korea, and Malta. Further facilitate the tournament feature, PlayStation also announced the launch of a new community Discord server dedicated to PlayStation tournaments. Earlier this year, it was reported that both the PS4 and PS5 would receive Discord integration in future console firmware updates. Whether the timing of this Discord server has anything to do with a potential integration or not remains to be seen. PlayStation stated in closing that more games and tournaments will be added to the feature over time. In the meantime, PS5 players that wish to test their skills can check out PlayStation tournaments and see how they stack up to the competition in the arena of their choice. The newest update for Gotham Knights adds a 4-player co-op mode for free. Gotham Knights was released in October 2022 to mixed reviews, with a lot of criticism being directed at the game's progression system. Some players even felt that Gotham Knights resembled a mobile game due to its UI and the crafting menu. Before its release, developer WB Games Montreal had confirmed that Gotham Knights will get a separate 4-player co-op mode called Heroic Assault for free as a post-launch update. The main story of the game supports a seamless cooperative gameplay experience, but it's limited to 2 players only. As Gotham Knights features 4 playable characters, not having all of them on the screen at once may have been a missed opportunity. However, the new update adds support for 4 players, no extra cost to owners of the game. The Heroic Assault game mode for Gotham Knights is now available on consoles and PC. Heroic Assault lets a squad of 4 players take on 30 floors of enemies in an arena-like environment, with Starro and Man-Bat being at the center of this conflict. Gotham Knights' latest trailer gives a glimpse at Starro, along with a general overview of the new game mode. Starro was first introduced in 1960 and was the first villain to face the original Justice League of America. As is apparent, Starro is a giant starfish with a single, central eye that doubles as a highly advanced alien life form. In its comic arrival, it empowers 3 starfish that wreak havoc on Earth, exploding an atomic bomb, kidnapping scientists, and taking mental control of certain cities. In addition to Heroic Assault, Gotham Knights also gets a 2-player game mode Showdown for free. Here, players will be able to take on enhanced versions of iconic DC villains including Mr. Freeze, Harley Quinn, Clayface, and Talia al Ghul. Fans will earn unique suit colorways and new legendary gear blueprints for each enemy they defeat. The trailer also features a brief introduction to Showdown, giving users a look at the supercharged versions of the villains they will face in these battles. These 2 game modes offer more ways to play Gotham Knights, but users will have to progress through the main story to unlock them. Gamers will get access to Heroic Assault upon reaching Case File 05 in Gotham Knights campaign, while Showdown mode unlocks once fans have defeated the main villain in each case file. Free updates are a welcome addition, but Gotham Knights was not without its fair share of controversies in the lead-up to its release. Around a week before its launch, the development team confirmed that Gotham Knights will run at 30 FPS on PS5 and Xbox Series X. It's rare to find a game that doesn't offer support for 60 FPS gameplay or even higher on these. consoles, so this announcement made Gotham Knights an outlier among new video game releases. Speaking of DC games, James Gunn hinted at plans for a DC universe that will be connected across television, live-action movies, animation, and video games. The DC universe will be led by Peter Safran and James Gunn, who's most notably known for the Suicide Squad and of the Guardians of the Galaxy films. Recently, a fan asked if they can expect more cohesiveness across DC's media, and James Gunn confirmed an interconnected DC universe is planned. The DC Comics live-action division has been officially titled the DC Universe, which is similar to Marvel Studios' MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now that Gunn is leading DC Studios and ushering in a new era of projects, fans want to know what he has planned for the DC Universe. Recently, Gunn has been asked questions regarding what fans can expect in terms of what's to come with all the new DC changes. One fan on Twitter asked, "Are you and your partner planning to give more DC character TV shows that'll add to the story for the DCU?" In response, Gunn said, "Yes, most definitely. The DCU will be connected across film and TV, and animation." Another fan then followed up by asking if the video games would connect to the shared universe. In response, Gunn simply said, "Yes." Gunn is known for taking to Twitter to answer questions without lying about character appearances or cameos. So, it's safe to say that this is all accurate information, as the director has recently come to terms with closing the chapter on the Guardians of the Galaxy. However, fans should lower their expectations in terms of seeing every single piece of DC Comics media being connected, as some things will exist in their own universe. Fans shouldn't expect the Batman Arkham video games to connect to Black Adam, for example. However, DC could produce a new video game about Hawkman before the events of Black Adam, for instance. The beauty in everything connecting is that it builds a shared universe, but it also requires balance because not everything needs to be connected for this to work. Matt Reeves has expressed that the Batman doesn't connect with any other DC projects and he is not interested in jumping ship to Marvel because there are more stories to tell in the universe he created with Robert Pattinson, like HBO Max's Penguin series. Or James Gunn could be referring to creating a video game DC universe like Insomniac Games are doing with Marvel's Spider-Man and Wolverine, creating a Marvel gaming universe. Bethesda's Todd Howard has shed some light on what the in-development Indiana Jones game from ZeniMax subsidiary Machine Games could end up being. Howard is serving as the game's executive producer. A fitting role as a game based on Indiana Jones is something that he has wanted to work on for years. The game was announced in January 2021 with a 30-second teaser trailer. Very little information on the game was given other than that it would be from Bethesda and Machine Games in collaboration with Lucasfilm Games. In the nearly 2 years since the announcement, information on the game has been scarce and rampant with speculation, especially on whether the game will be an Xbox exclusive. The silence surrounding this game has been slightly broken thanks to an interview Todd Howard did with podcaster Lex Friedman. When asked if the game would follow the action-adventure genre, Howard described it as a mashup of different ideas that he and the developers have wanted to implement in a game for years. "It isn't one thing intentionally, so it does a lot of different things," Howard said. Past job listings indicated that the game could feature bots and companions, potentially hinting that the Indiana Jones game could feature multiplayer. As a lifelong Indiana Jones fan, Todd Howard originally pitched the idea of an Indiana Jones game to Lucasfilm Games, previously known as LucasArts. In 2009, though, a deal never went through nor was there any development team assigned to it. He would pitch the idea again over a decade later with Lucasfilm having then been acquired by Disney. When it came to choosing a team for the project, Howard said that Machine Games, known for making the most recent entries in the Wolfenstein series, was the perfect fit for this game. As one might expect for a franchise this old and beloved, Indiana Jones video games have had a long and storied history going back decades with both original and adapted stories. However, right now is a perfect time for a new Indiana Jones game given the newfound relevance of the franchise sparked by the upcoming 5th Indiana Jones movie, the first movie in the series in about 15 years. This movie is likely to introduce Indiana Jones to a new generation of fans in a manner similar to how a new generation of shooter fans was introduced to Wolfenstein through the work of Machine Games, starting with Wolfenstein: The New Order in 2014. Although the next film will be the last time Harrison Ford will play the titular character, there is still plenty of untapped potential in the series that Machine Games should embrace with its unique opportunity. Starfield is the first new IP from Bethesda Softworks in roughly 25 years, meaning this title perhaps already has more pressure than the Elder Scrolls or Fallout, because new IPs are always a risk, even for the biggest developers. During a recent interview, Todd Howard discussed how the Microsoft acquisition has benefited Starfield's development, as Bethesda has worked with some of the top engineers at Xbox on the title, but also the added pressure of trying to sell consoles. Indeed, while hardware specs are an obvious benefit of any console, it often comes down to exclusives when choosing between a PS5 and Xbox Series X, throughout the PS4 gen and even so far this gen. Sony has dominated the exclusive market with games like Marvel's Spider-Man, God of War Ragnarok, and so on, while Microsoft has largely played catch-up by announcing acquisitions. Microsoft is hopefully entering the stage where its in-development exclusives start coming out, and that applies to Starfield too, adding newfound pressure to Bethesda. As noted by Howard during a recent Lex Fridman podcast, Bethesda has always had some exclusivity deals with Xbox as far back as Morrowind, but it has never been responsible, even partially, for the success of the platform. Elder Scrolls and Fallout are beloved franchises that had major success regardless of platform, but now that it's Microsoft-owned, helping sell consoles is a newfound responsibility. Howard states, "We've had a lot of success with the games that you talked about, but we've never been kind of the platform seller, you know, the game for a platform for a period of time, and so there is a lot of pressure, there's a lot of responsibility there to make sure we deliver for everybody." Being a major acquisition for a gaming powerhouse like Microsoft comes with said pressure, which is to be expected, but it's also awesome from Howard's perspective. Working closer than ever with Xbox allows Bethesda to focus on Starfield's development, while having extra help and resources from the company. With this added help, Bethesda intends to make Starfield look incredible on the Xbox Series X and S. To keep in mind, that the Series S potato will hold back next-gen only games for this entire generation. It's also partially the reason for Starfield's delay. Howard and just about everyone at Microsoft and Bethesda has called it the right move, even if it's regrettable. It leaves a big hole in Microsoft's console-exclusive games for 2022, but Xbox and Bethesda want to deliver something remarkable, and I hope they do. Howard has revealed that Bethesda met up with SpaceX and its CEO Elon Musk to get some quote-unquote inspiration for or influence on Starfield. The Elder Scrolls director and executive producer says he was in awe at what he saw inside the spacecraft manufacturer, adding that it was like Avengers meets NASA. It seems pretty evident from the video that Howard was blown away by what the team was shown and what he himself learned. Though he goes on to admit that he doesn't understand the behind-the-scenes approaches to spaceflight, it's clear that the visit at least partially inspired Starfield. Speaking of the SpaceX chief executive, Elon Musk has been making waves since taking over Twitter, with the initial acquisition beginning in April 2022 and finalizing at the end of October. Musk himself has spoken about his love of video games in the past, so it's not too surprising that he would be willing to meet up with Bethesda in preparation for an upcoming space RPG. The current proposed launch window is within the first half of 2023, but seeing as Starfield was supposed to be out by now, fans are having to wait even longer. Hideo Kojima has spoken out to address popular rumors and fan theories about his involvement with Abandoned, an upcoming horror game from independent developer Blue Box Game Studios. There has been widespread speculation ever since Abandoned was announced that Kojima is secretly behind the project, and that the relatively unknown Blue Box is simply a front to disguise his plans. Soon after the first teaser for Abandoned was released in 2021, fans on the internet began to suspect that the project was more than it appeared. Commentators noted the game's aesthetic similarity to PT, a short but memorable horror game from Kojima Productions that was meant to act as a teaser for Silent Hills, a project that was later cancelled. Fans also noted the scarcity of public information about Blue Box Game Studios, theorizing it to be a fake company in the same vein as Moby Dick Studio, a made-up studio used by Kojima in 2012 to tease the release of Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Speaking about these rumors in an episode of his podcast Brain Structure, Hideo Kojima directly refuted the claims of his involvement with Abandoned, calling the barrage of questions and theories he has received about the matter really quite a nuisance. The renowned game designer did acknowledge that he had been behind a similar ruse with Moby Dick Studio and The Phantom Pain. But he said that fans should know that I wouldn't do the same thing twice. Kojima confirmed that he has yet to speak with Hasan Karaman, the actual director behind Abandoned. But he offered some advice to the newer developer: take advantage of the hype. Now that the false rumors have caused the game to go viral, Kojima suggested to Karaman that he should take advantage of it. If you create something good and share it with everyone, they will learn the truth. Rumors about Abandoned continue to surge online, but Kojima expressed his hope that, once they, Blue Box, have made something, the users who play it will understand it's not Silent Hill and I'm not involved, but they will still grow to love their game. Given Kojima Productions' history with sneaky game teasers like PT and The Phantom Pain, it is not all that surprising that many fans suspected the same to be happening with Abandoned. However, now that both the game's director and Kojima himself have directly denied the latter's involvement with the project, the ongoing rumors labeling the whole thing an elaborate Silent Hill teaser are no longer credible in the slightest. As exciting as any hint of a new Hideo Kojima project may be for many fans, it seems undeniable at this point that whatever else it may be, Abandoned simply isn't such a project. Hideo Kojima has also addressed recent rumors surrounding a potential exclusive contract with Google Stadia. Said to have been in the works before news spread that the cloud streaming platform was shutting down. It marks the end of Stadia's rather short lifespan, which will only have been live for just over 3 years once it is decommissioned in January. Came to light in the final days of September that Google Stadia would no longer be receiving support shortly into the new year. The news was not much of a shock to the wider gaming community, who had ostensibly written off Stadia as a lesser alternative to consoles, attributing the attitude to a poor business model. However, it was an unpleasant surprise to many developers who had titles scheduled to release on the service, with some contracts signed mere weeks before. The fall of Stadia brought an avalanche of stories from these sideline developers and those investigating the matter, including a rumor that the soon-to-be defunct platform turned down an exclusive follow-up to Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding. In Kojima's most recent episode of Brain Structure, an exclusive Spotify podcast, he and guest Jeff Keighley dedicated the vast majority of the half-an-hour running time to industry rumors. Kojima was unequivocal in his statement that any news surrounding a deal with Stadia was unfounded, and proceeded to criticize the way in which modern gaming media operates, valuing immediacy above accuracy. Jeff Keighley offered his own opinion regarding the rumors, claiming that he found them difficult to believe given Death Stranding was initially exclusive on PlayStation, and would have likely been picked up by Sony again if any sequel was to be put into production. Kojima is the focal point of many speculative stories, such as when a picture of him was associated with the assassination of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. What likely originated as a meme on 4chan, Kojima was subsequently falsely identified as the perpetrator of the attack, which was promoted by a French politician and several news outlets across the globe. Regardless of how the Stadia rumor propagated, many believe that any decision to reject an exclusive Hideo Kojima video game was a misguided business move. How, or even if, Google plans to compensate existing contracts that have now been made void, is yet to receive any clarity. But fortunately some titles have already been able to find a new home on either Xbox or PlayStation. Kojima Productions founder Hideo Kojima confirmed that he's received several ridiculously high acquisition offers, all of which he's rejected. While specific details regarding acquisition attempts for Kojima Productions weren't provided, Kojima made clear they're quite real. Speaking during the most recent episode of the Hideo Kojima Presents Brain Structure podcast, Kojima says that, "Every day I am approached by offers all over the world to buy our studio." He adds that some of the offers made for Kojima Productions put forth ridiculously high prices, but that he has rejected all of them and has no plans to sell. The reason why Kojima has rejected the acquisition offers is simple. He explains that he didn't found Kojima Productions because he wanted money. Rather, Kojima just wants to make what he wants to make. Kojima goes so far as to say that so long as he's alive, he doesn't believe that he'll accept an offer to acquire Kojima Productions. Suffice to say, that's a strong statement from Kojima. Some might be confused regarding Kojima's comments considering he's working with Microsoft on an unnamed project, and rumored to be working with PlayStation on another. Kojima makes clear that Kojima Productions remains an independent studio, clarifying that it has no affiliations whatsoever and isn't backed by anyone. The game development contracts the studio has agreed to are, assumedly, temporary and allow Kojima to stay true to his goals. Getting to this point was no simple matter, of course. Kojima spent decades at Konami, with his first Metal Gear game launching in 1987. That Kojima stepped away from the Metal Gear franchise he'd turned into an incredible success to form his own independent studio and make projects like Death Stranding with help of PlayStation should capture his character. And now that he's here, Kojima is clearly unwilling to sell what he's created. Hideo Kojima finally addressed requests for him to make a new Metal Gear Solid game, but it's not the news that fans were anticipating. The director of Kojima Productions reportedly has many projects in the pipeline, but there seems to be zero plans involving some of his past titles. First released in 1987, the Metal Gear series defined the stealth genre in video games. The last main series title was 2015's Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, which was produced by Kojima Productions. There have been rumors that Virtuos is working on a potential Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. While the studio hasn't made an official announcement, fans are further convinced that it's happening after it listed Konami as one of its clients. However, because of Konami's strained relationship with Metal Gear Solid creator Kojima, it's unlikely that he would be involved in this project. Fans still held out hope that Kojima would work on the title again in the future. Unfortunately, he squashed all the rumors in an episode of his podcast, Brain Structure. He acknowledged the fan requests for him to do another Metal Gear Solid game, noting that he sees them as a positive thing, but he also wanted everyone to know that it isn't happening. While some Metal Gear Solid fans seem to be disappointed that Kojima won't be revisiting the title, many also expressed their support. They noted that fans should put these requests and rumors to rest, and let Kojima expand his horizons with other projects. As mentioned, he's been busy working on new video games, such as Project Overdose, an unnamed VR title, an Xbox-exclusive game, and a mysterious title that could potentially be Death Stranding 2. Apart from that, Kojima also expressed interest in creating movies and music. On the other hand, Virtuos and Konami might still deliver on a Metal Gear Solid remake. With many video game studios and developers utilizing updated engines for their next-gen remakes, this might be the ideal time for the original Metal Gear Solid trilogy to make its comeback on more modern consoles, just like Castlevania and Silent Hill. Legendary game developer Hideo Kojima continues to tease the next project from Kojima Productions. And it's looking increasingly likely that the game will be revealed at the Game Awards on December 8th. Hideo Kojima has long had a strong relationship with Game Awards host Jeff Keighley. And so it makes sense that Keighley's awards show would be used as the platform for Kojima to unveil his next project to the world. Since Kojima split from Konami, the independent Kojima Productions has produced one game, the 2019 Death Stranding. Death Stranding was divisive upon release, with some hailing it as a work of art and others criticizing its gameplay. With Death Stranding nearly 3 years old at this point, many have been wondering what's next for Kojima Productions, and it seems that the answers may come sooner rather than later. Hideo Kojima has used social media to tease his next project, which still remains mostly shrouded in mystery at this point. Kojima has confirmed that Elle Fanning and Shioli Katsuna will be in the game, but details beyond that are unavailable. Kojima's latest tease is a black image with 3 distinct logos on it and the text, "Start a New Journey." Game Awards host Jeff Keighley and the official Game Awards Twitter account reacted to the tweet, suggesting that fans will get answers come December 8th. As for what Kojima's next game is, that remains to be seen. Rumors have pointed in 3 possible directions: a Death Stranding sequel, a horror game that's apparently titled Overdose, or a completely new IP. Death Stranding star Norman Reedus has already said that a Death Stranding sequel is in the works and footage of Overdose has leaked online, so the projects do seem to exist. It's just a question of which one will be coming out first. The vibe from the logos shared by Kojima definitely seem to point in the direction of a Death Stranding sequel as opposed to a horror game, but that's just speculation at this time. It's worth mentioning that the Overdose horror game is believed to star Margaret Qualley, who previously played Mama in Death Stranding. And so it seems safe to assume that this game is not going to be Overdose. Ultimately, fans will have to tune into the Game Awards on December 8th to find out if the next project from Kojima Productions is at the show as has been teased, and if so, what exactly it's all about. Expect the speculation and teases to continue until then. And that's all for the video, guys. Like and share the video for a greater audience. Comment your thoughts on the topics, and donations are always appreciated. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon, and until then, from SMPV, it's goodbye.